For starters, though, I want you to understand that circular flow is a part of microeconomics. So microeconomics is one of the branches of economics that we study, and microeconomics deals with individual business and individual household decisions. The circular flow is a diagram that shows the interactions of businesses and households in the economy. So here are the parts of the circular flow. So all the circular flow is a model to show how money gets traded for stuff. So anytime money's getting traded for stuff, that happens in a market. The actors that are trading this money and this stuff are households and businesses. So in the product market, you're going to have money traded for stuff. In the factor market, you're going to have money traded for stuff. All right, the product market is where households buy products. So when households buy goods and services like a haircut or rent a house or anything that you buy for yourself, that's going to be in the product market. In the factor market is where businesses buy stuff. So if I'm a business and I'm buying something, I'm buying ingredients, I'm hiring workers, that's going to happen in the factor market. Here is the circular flow diagram. So I'm going to show you how to fill this out. Anytime I see a circular flow diagram that's not completely filled in, the first thing I want to do is find myself. And I know that I take my money and I buy stuff with it. So here is where goods and services stuff is flowing, but I spend money on stuff. So money's got to come out of my household. So I know household is going to go right here. On the other side, across from household, is a business. And where we meet is called a market. We might meet at the location of the business. Maybe I'm going to Taco Bell. We might meet at my house. Maybe I'm paying somebody to cut my grass. But anytime we have money exchanging hands for something, we're going to have a market. So the product market is where I buy things. So if you bought gas for your car recently, if you bought a mask, if you paid for a ticket to a game, if you got a haircut, if you got your grass mowed, you are spending money for goods and services, and that's happening in the product market. Down here is where businesses buy the things that they need. So if I'm at Taco Bell, for example, I'm going to have to buy a grill and a fryer, which would be my capital. I'll have somebody who runs the restaurant. That would be entrepreneurship. I'm going to rent my land. And finally, I'm going to hire my workers. So those are the different things that I'll do at the Taco Bell. Those are all the factors of production. All of those factors of production are things that the business pays for. So anytime you see a business paying for something, they are doing that in the factor market. The factor market is sometimes called the resource market. This is where businesses buy the resources that they need. I had a student say one time, oh, it's the factory. Anything you buy that's happening at the factory is going to happen in the factor market. Anything that you buy at the store is going to happen in the product market. So if households are buying it, it happens in the product market. If businesses are buying it, it happens in the factor market. All right, here's another example of the circular flow diagram. I want you to notice we've got product and factor market, we've got households and businesses, also known as firms, and then all around the outside, we've got words that represent money. So this is money, but we found lots of different vocabulary for that. So if you see a circular flow that looks unfamiliar, look and find the synonyms for money, okay? Another thing, goods and services, they call them products here, productive resources or resources here. I really hate this diagram because it's way more confusing than it needs to be, but it's the diagram that's used in the teacher notes. And here's a diagram that's a lot more like what you would see on a quiz or a test. So here, I might ask you what to do with this. And if I ask you how to use this diagram, I'm going to ask you about some kind of flow that happens through a market. So anytime I find this kind of diagram on a quiz or a test, the first thing I'm going to do is label it. First thing I'm going to do is I find my household and I spend money. I know that. So money comes out of my household and goes to the product market. When I go to Walmart, that's going to the product market. So I find the household and find the product market. There's no rule saying the product market has to be up here. It might be down here. And so I look for the arrow that points out of my household into the product market, and I'm gonna label that money. Money's gonna go all the way around in the same direction. So the circular flow shows the flow of money and the flow of the things that you exchange for money. When I buy that good or service, so I'm gonna put G/S for goods and services, that happens in the product market. So again, to check myself, did I spend money at the product market and did I get stuff? If the answer is yes, then I did this correctly. When businesses buy stuff, they're gonna buy the factors of production. So I'm gonna put productive resources here, and I put PR here for short. Businesses spent money and they got things like land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. So then the question you would see on a test is something like, if I spent some money to get a haircut, where did the money flow? Well, if it's me, I'm a household, so I'm gonna spend the money to get a haircut. So my money is gonna come out and it's gonna go through a market and land in a business. So the money would flow from 1 to 2. So your answer is always gonna flow through a market. So the point of a circular flow is to show where money flows through markets and things, goods and services and resources flow in exchange. If a business rents a building, where does that money flow? So it's a business, they're spending money, so money's coming out. So the money is going to flow from 3 to 4 here because it's going to flow through the factor market, from the business through the factor market to the household. So that's a little bit about how circular flow works. We're going to do some more practice because I noticed there was some frustration about that, so don't panic, but hopefully that helps.